All right, welcome to episode 1 of Creative Retrospective. So this is a new series that I'm starting. If you know me from the Vinyl Collective, I like having long chats with the people I have on. But for this one, it's just going to be me, and it's more just kind of talking with people in the creative scene, whether that's music, maybe even football in upcoming episodes, and just basically talk about their experiences so far and the things they've done, their interesting careers, and kind of get more into how they felt and what they were doing at the times of the things they were doing. So, I know you like this, Stella. You don't like wasting time. You like getting straight into it. So I'm going to go straight into it with you as well, right? When I first came across you, right, I can't remember how long it was now. It must have been like 3-4 years ago now. And I was like, oh, Flashy Sillah, that's a bold name. What the hell is that? And I was like, what the fuck is that? But and I saw, oh no, this is a whole part of an umbrella, right? It's part of like Flashy Visions, and you're part of like the Flash Squad. I haven't seen anyone else within this kind of brand. Like, give us more information about like who's behind the whole Flashy's Visions, Flashy Squad kind of troop.
Yeah, so basically, Flash Squad like started off as like a group of friends like from school and that. So we used to obviously make music. We used to just chill together and that, like with no one in like the local ends in it. That's like Flash Squad, like a group of like what 7, 8 man. Do you know what I mean? We all used to spit, like we used to just chill together, and obviously we used to go by like how ASAP Mob used to do Flashy, used to do ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg, ASAP
Right,
Nas.
yeah.
But we were like Flashy Sillah, Flashy Crafts and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Some man had
Makes sense.
Flashy in that. So yeah, like do you know what it is? It's like as well. A lot of people think the Flashy Sillah brand comes from me being like loud and extravagant and like out there and that. But I can't lie, I'm a humble dude, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's just that I'm quite simple. It's just that like the Flash God aspect to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like a couple of us work at one of us in Flash God works at Sony Music.
Oh, right, okay.
So got a clothing line. One of us is a rapper. One of us is an influencer. Like she's a girl. She's like a good like influencer. Do you know what I mean? She got numbers on the gram and stuff. So we're more of just like a creative group now since we transitioned from kids to adults.
Yeah.
So a lot of us like got so many different pockets in so many different creative industries. So I feel like that's just it. To be honest, Flashy Sillah is just me, and obviously Sillah is my surname.
Of course, yeah.
That's like my tag name as well, innit? So in the end, even back in school, like the teachers would just call me Sillah because my older sister, she used to go to the same school. Sillah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's literally it.
Okay. And I think you mentioned, I think previously in some other interviews where you said you're in the A&R, but you don't really manage any artists. So is this kind of where the A&R comes into play with under the Flashy brand, or is that something separate?
Yeah. So with the A&R I've always been in like studios since I was about 16. So the likes of like Abracadabra.
Oh, you was in studios with Abracadabra at 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
hey, cool.
From, like, local area and that, like, do you know what I mean? Like everyone around my age group that was coming up, like I've been in the studio with them at least a couple of times. The likes of like D Block Europe, some engineer, like he's someone that I kind of came up with. No, not even came up with really. Like he kind of guided us in the right direction when it came to the music. So A&R at the moment I'm actually A&R in someone. Don't want to speak too much on it, but when you see it, you'll see it. And I think you would appreciate it a lot as well.
Okay, cool. It'll be good to hear about that, man. All right, cool. So we're going to kind of take it. So the kind of format of the show and kind of with all my guests, we're going to take it all the way back to kind of their genesis and then work our way forward. So I'm going to go all the way back. Even when I was kind of doing my research, I was kind of surprised by this because I remember when you was on the Joey Badass episode, right? And you mentioned you had like the cold drinks pod and all that stuff. I was like, okay, cool. I didn't realize like some of this shit was going back to like 2018. Like you've been doing this for like 6 years now. Jesus Christ. So like, yeah, it's been a long fucking time, mate. And I think one thing that kind of surprised me because kind of in contrast to where you are now, one of the things as well, like Sillah sounds like was like almost 4 years ago right now. You were a lot more of a US and UK type of guy. And I remember when me, you and John were speaking before the episode, you were like, oh, like, I think you were kind of surprised that I saw you as the UK guy. You're like, no, like I listen to US music as well. But in terms of your content, how come you don't put that out as much as you used to back in the day? Is it more like you feel like there's more of a market to kind of be had within the UK scene, or it's just there's not enough time?
No, do you know what it is? I've always been like a rap guy. So in school, obviously I used to kick ball like on a serious level as well. I got to like a decent level, but when I started transitioning into rap, music, like just being like a critic and just being like a how do you call it? Like, I wouldn't say a spokesperson, but more like someone, the commentator. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Like a commentator. Like I've always been someone that's always had a mad interest in hip hop. I mean, and I always wanted, always liked UK and the US. Do you know what I mean? So it's a thing where I also come with a personality. It's like balancing the two. Is it a rap critic, media personality, music influencer? What is it?
Yeah.
But I think I just mesh all the two. So it's like multifaceted. I like to be multifaceted because I'm a good conversationalist, same way, but I can analyze as well, and I can give you entertainment. So it's a thing where when it comes to like content as a whole, I like to balance the two, but my main hustle would be like the rap music. Do you know what I mean? Because man, that's what man really love. Not really the entertainment side of it and the personality side of it. It's more like the critic side, the insightful side, because that's what I came up loving, like Charlemagne, for example, like radio personalities.
We're gonna get into that. Don't worry.
Yeah. The Charlemagnes, but then on the same side of that, I also used to love Steve Stout with what he used to do with Mars. Like, you know what I mean? I was gonna say Diddy, but obviously right now,
I mean that's the best thing to say right now.
Like what you mean? Like those A&Rs, like even in the UK, like Benny Scars and people that like I've kind of worked in close proximity with, innit? Like those are people that I kind of look up to, like who I want to aim to be like more of like an impactful person in the scene, innit? So
but it makes sense. So in terms of going from Sillah Sound Lab to the Block Report, there's a couple of things I want to ask here. So the first thing, so we know you kind of started the Sound Lab just before COVID, and it was like, okay, cool, we need to kind of keep on doing this. So you and your mate were on your block. So there's two parts to this question. The first thing, okay, it was really successful when you pitched it to the 90s babies and stuff like that. But weren't you kind of worried? I was thinking about this. I was like, wait, it's like, isn't that his actual estate? Do you ever get worried like, oh, people just know where I live now? Like, obviously you have all these stars here, like, or just like, you know what, it's whatever, mate. Like, have you ever considered that?
Yeah, all the time. I'll be honest, all the time. Like, it's a thing where obviously rappers shoot on their own estate as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, rappers for years before they blow up, they're shooting like on their doorstep and that.
Right.
And I kind of saw no different for me doing it where I grew up. So and it was like kind of a coincidence how Block Report came about, because when Sound Lab stopped, it was during COVID, and obviously no studio were available for me to hire to like kind of record Sound Lab. So I thought to my videographer, yo, bro, just come to my estate in it. Let's set up a camera. There's no content coming out. We have to make it our own. Do you know what I mean? So literally just told him, bring a tripod, boom, we'll put it in the middle of the bench in the estate in the park, and let me just talk my shit. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously 90s Baby, it's so cool. Like the coincidence is crazy because they were looking for shows at the time. I was like, Raj, you know what? I might as well just do this alongside because Sound Lab ain't there. So you know what? Let me just pitch a new show that I can just to keep the ball rolling. Do you know what I mean? And then boom, all of a sudden people were fucking with it. Like some people that still watch Block Report till this day, they were watching it from when it was on 90s Baby. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So
a fun piece of trivia because I know that you're a fan of Schoolboy Q, right? So Oxymoron turned 10 the other day. So one of the things that people don't know, one of my favorite songs on the album is Break the Bank by Schoolboy Q, right? One of the things about that video, right, because Schoolboy Q was so knee deep, he couldn't record that on his area because it was too hot. He had to go somewhere else to record it. I think that's why I was thinking about that question. But moving on to 90s Baby, this is the part that actually kind of surprises me the most, right? So you get the 90s Baby gig in like middle of 2020, right? And at this time, obviously, 90s Babies they're much bigger than they are now than they were back then, but they were still kind of significant, right? I mean, they were significant enough to have like people to expand their network, essentially. I know probably in their eyes, they're thinking, all right, okay, we kind of want to start a network. Obviously, 90s Baby is the main one, and then we have these other things that kind of tap into other niches. But then one thing that you said that was quite interesting, kind of, it's as long as if you knew coming into it, you were like, this ain't the ceiling. Like, I know this is a good gig. But I think most people, even myself, would be like, oh yeah, I'm part of the 90s Baby banner. You know, Terry's right there, Fred's right there. I'm gonna get the clout. You were just like, no, there's something more to be had here. So what was the scene that you saw at the time, and are we there yet, or have we passed it? Like, what were you envisioning when you went into it?
Yeah, so like obviously, just to answer your question before that, like how like it can be a bit hot to record on the estate. You know what it is? I think when people see me doing something that's quite innocent as like Block Report, people just like they just tend to it because it's like it's innocent content. Do you know what I mean? Entertaining innocent content. So whether you're on road or whether you're just part of the community, people are saluting it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Times in the episode, my OG episodes, 90s Babies one, people walking past like, yo, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? But yeah, to follow up on that, second part of your question, I think when I was watching a lot of shows that got put on to 90s Baby when they were expanding their network, and I think people who did pitch their show and were successful, like they were just really doing it for just content's sake.
Right.
But for me, when I was doing it to kind of break through a certain scene and a certain mode. Because I think around that time is when a lot of like new school rap, UK rap critics started to come up. So the likes of like Chord, for example. The generation of Chord, that's literally my generation. So the meme,
honestly, just to add on to that, I feel like, kind of similar to what maybe like London had with like the movement dub videos and stuff like that. It's like, oh yes, get to us there, it gets us there. I feel like when it comes to content creation, I feel like Chord is that thing because almost everyone goes back to Chord in some way. Like even myself, I think I was on like episode 1 or some shit like that. So yeah, no, I fully agree with you.
Yeah. So like I think it was more like the resilience, like to just keep going because people just in the comments, people are like, oh, this show's sick. Oh, like I fuck with this show, blah blah blah. 90s Baby lot, they were impressed with it. And one thing as well is that when by episode like 2-3, I told myself, all right, cool, people seem to like gravitate towards this content. So I'm gonna give myself 10 episodes on 90s Baby to build it up.
Oh, you decided the 10 episodes. It was you. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So I decided it. I was like, okay, cool. 10 episodes. Let me go ham. Let me see what I can do with this. And then those 10 episodes, I'll take it somewhere to a bigger platform and see where I can go with this. And then obviously, I think by about episode 7, 8, I kind of analyzed all my options. I went to Link Up TV. Didn't get a response at the time, but they're all my guys right now. I went to Top, and then I went to Mixtape. And then I thought Mixtape might be my level, especially the fact that they were coming up a lot around the era. Next Up was still doing numbers, but they lacked content. So I was proper analyzing what platforms needed content, actual original content. I was like, you know what, Mixtape. So I pitched it to them, went to their office, and then like the rest is history, man. They backed it, man. Can't complain. Yeah.
And working with the 90s Babies, what like how helpful were they in terms of like kind of getting you through the door? Like were they like, oh, do whatever you want, or were they kind of like looking over your videos and saying, no, you could add this or you could do this? Like how much of a relation did you have with them at the time?
Oh man, the 90s Baby lot, they let me do whatever I could because I think when I gave them my pilot episode, I told them, yo, this is the show I want to go with. Hot topics. I'm just going to inform people what's going on in the world of UK rap adjacent as well. And then they were like, yeah, straight away off the rip, we like it. And then since then, like they just told me, just send us the video when it's ready to upload, and then boom, we'll just upload it. Because people gravitated towards it. So yeah, and obviously since they're content creators, they know what works already. So yeah, they just let me do my thing, man. Literally.
Yeah, okay. And then now later on the story. So again, for most people, it's like, oh, you know what? I just want to get a look in like from someone. You already have the 90s Baby look in. Like what? So like 5 months later, your Mixtape Madness is like, all right, you're already kind of shooting for the stars here. Okay, so now your Mixtape Madness. Now you're doing a lot more of the interview style. This is where more the interview style kind of essence of the Block Report kind of comes in. I know at the start, if people don't know, it was more like a weekly roundup. Like, okay, here's the songs I like, and here's kind of the hot topics in the news. And now we've kind of evolved to, okay, I'm sitting down with Avelino, I'm sitting down with Young Test. So first of all, I want to ask, what was it now? Okay, now you're under a bigger kind of brand of Mixtape Madness. Was there more influence from the Mixtape Madness side in terms of what came out? Or again, was the creative freedom still there?
Yeah, again, even with Mixtape, I think they gave me creative freedom as well. They did have more of input than 90s Baby, but I think that's because they're more of like a multimedia platform. So of course they got to protect their brand.
Of course,
as well as mine, making sure that I got the best possible outcome. So they would definitely fling in suggestions. They would definitely recommend some artists and stuff. But every artist that's been on Block Report, except for La Vida Loca, was off the back of like my relationships with the artists.
Oh, really? Okay. So even like Avelino and stuff like that.
Yeah. Avelino, obviously, Avelino from the ends as well.
Oh, yeah, of course,
that was quite easy. And with Mixtape, they helped a lot in terms of like making it feel like a show. So they're the ones that got me New Jay, the videographer.
Right,
They're the
yeah.
ones that got me like to help develop the show into like a real report show format. They would give me advice on like copyright, and obviously I can't put up a video if I'm doing hot topics for more than a certain amount of seconds and stuff like that. So I think every step of the way from 90s Baby to Mixtape, they helped with the development of the show, because before it was just an innocent show, talk my shit, tell you my favorite tunes and whatnot. Got to Mixtape, they were like, keep doing that, but let's make it feel like a show now, so that when you do eventually like separate from us, you've got something solid there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay, and I guess working with New Jack, I know this is the guy kind of, and again, if you guys haven't seen the videos, like I thought it was someone you knew beforehand, but his edits are really kind of sick, right? So in terms of now that you've got someone who's kind of knows the look and how to kind of develop the field of your show, and then again, we're going to get to in terms of leaving Mixtape Madness, was it a thing where you guys decided, okay, we're just going to keep working together for the future, even after I leave Mixtape Madness, or was it kind of he was tied to Mixtape Madness, and if you left Mixtape Madness, you'd have to kind of find another videographer again?
Yeah, so obviously, as soon as I got to Mixtape, I weighed up my options. I already thought about when I'm going to leave. So I always knew that.
Also, again, at the same, you're like, okay, I'm here now. Yeah. Where am I going to go? Okay, cool. Right.
So, like, obviously, I kind of told myself, like, yo, I'll give myself about 2 years here. Let me make the most out of it. Let me squeeze as much juice as I can from a platform as big as Mixtape Madness. Like, I was gassed when I got there, 1 million subscribers. I'm thinking, yo, exposure. This is good. And then when I did eventually leave, like all on good terms and stuff, when I did eventually leave, I liked the way New Jay shot Block Report. Like it was clean. It didn't look like anything else anyone else was doing. He just understood the vision. But when I did leave and eventually go to my own channel, I took 2 steps back to make sure I take 3 steps forward. So for like the first 5-6 episodes on my channel, I literally filmed that on an iPhone. My cousin filmed that. I was editing that myself, taking it back to the essence, like to make sure that I always make sure I'm humble. Like I always make sure that I'm humbling myself to the level of a creator. So like even like the beginners, like I want to put myself back to that square one route to just get that hunger feeling back. Because that Mixtape, there was time the team was big. It was all me, like planning the shows and whatnot. But where Mixtape Madness got staff and stuff like that, I had so much input coming in, which was great. But then obviously going back to the essence, going back to my own channel, setting up my own Instagram for Block Report and stuff like that, it just made things go back so I could just go forward in the future.
Was that transition hard at the time? Like, because obviously before now, it's like you had to have that song. Yeah. So talk more about that.
Yeah. It was hard, man, because it's like, bro, it's literally back to square one. 0 subscribers on the channel. People knew the name. Luckily, obviously, people knew about Block Report, so there was a decent following there. But it was just like going from Mixtape to nothing. It's like it weighs a lot on the head. And obviously going from a videographer who edits it within 2 days, coming back to me who's filming it on an iPhone, and the look of it is still clean, but it feels like 90s Baby again.
Yeah, you know?
But then it felt good because it's like I like to make sure that I'm putting myself back into the hustle, innit? So I was there editing until 5-6 a.m, making sure I get this episode out by the next day evening and stuff like that. So it was hard, but then eventually when I did get with Fully Paid, for example, they were willing to sponsor the show. And then obviously I got New Jay back, and then that's when I started rolling on the interviews again. But the only interview I've done with New Jay on my own channel was the Sneak Bowl one, which done actually quite well.
Yeah.
Because it was in the middle of his rollout and stuff. So yeah, like literally that, man.
Okay. And I guess, I mean, that begs the question, right? In terms of like kind of taking this burden on, what was the decision to go independent again? Well, like why was that the case? Because you know it was going to be a bit harder for you, but you're like, okay, go, I'm still going to do it anyways. What was the thought process going into that?
Control. Not creative control, but control just over the content. Because I think when I was on Mixtape, it got to a point where it's like, like we should just doing this instead, or that, or it would be like I can't upload anything I want at any sort of time. Obviously,
right, of course, yeah.
They got music videos coming in, freestyles. They might have a bit of content coming in, so it's like I got to fit into certain slots.
It's like a news cycle, right?
Yeah, it's like I got to fit into this slot, or otherwise I miss that window for me to upload, and I might miss a week of Block Report. People asking me, "Where's Block Report?" Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So like,
makes sense.
Where I wanted more control over my platform, because where it is a show, it's also a platform, and I wanted to build upon that. It's like I wanted to make sure that I can upload when I want, I can post anything on the YouTube when I want, I can polls, I can do, I can ask like my own audience, because that Mixtape Madness audience, I can't gauge it as much as I can with mine. I know where my audience come from and stuff like that. Mixtape Madness is all over the world. So yeah, like literally is that. I think because when I started to, as the years went on with Block Report, year 1, year 2, year 3, I started to think, whoa, this could actually go somewhere. And then eventually the live shows started to roll in, started planning with that, started putting on other artists, because other artists were watching Block Report like, yo, I want to be on this, like not as an interview, but I just want you to big me up. So I just tried to find that middle ground, innit? Yeah.
And I just want to have one more question about, like, I guess the interview side before we kind of move on. So again, for someone who like does content around music, a lot of times when we talk about these artists, we kind of talk about them as if they're like ideas, not someone we're gonna like interact with in everyday life, right? So especially when it's people like your favorite artists. I know one of your like favorite artists is Young Teflon. Again, I don't know what your relationship prior, but it must kind of be a crazy experience, right? To go from, I used to listen to your music on the way to school, to like now I'm sitting on the bench with you in my estate. Like, did that feel like a full circle moment at the time?
Bro, I'll be so real, yeah. Like the Young Teflon episode, still till this day, I'm like, raw, like I interviewed my favorite rapper, one of, if not my favorite rapper in the UK, on my own platform, and he came to my estate. And on top of that, we built like a real like solid relationship in it. Like we got a good friendship. Like as in, when I met like with Tef, yeah, it's more of a thing where I've always been like a critic of his music, in it, whether it was positive or negative, and he appreciated that. And like even like you, bro, it's like we can appreciate other hip hop heads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I know this person is a student of the game, and I respect it. So anything they say, whether I agree or not, I fuck with this guy. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where it's like with Tef, that's where it came in. He realized, oh, do you know what? Like at the time, like I was young. He's like this kid, like he's cold. Do you know what I mean? I want to sit down and chat to him. So when that happened, I was like, bro, shout out all the man them. Like, yo, Tef is coming on Block Report. This is a man to listen to in school. Like, what you saying? And I can't, like, at the time, like, even if you watch the interview back, I was slightly nervous, man.
Really?
Like,
okay.
Oh, yeah. My favorite rapper, like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I still keeps it chill, man.
And now you're friends with him essentially, because he's at the live shows and stuff like that. That must be like a crazy experience, right? Like to you must be like, okay, like anything after this is a bonus. Like I've kind of made it in my eyes, right? It's over.
Yeah, literally that.
So in between like your kind of stint with Mixtape Madness, as you mentioned, you had these live shows, right? And I remember hearing about it. I was like, oh wow, he's doing like live shows. I missed the first one. I know it sold out so quickly. So I made sure I went to the next two. I think there was one, it was in like Bethnal Green or something like that. I mean, there was another one that was in Peckham. So yeah, so I remember going to these shows. I was like, oh wow, this is like a whole thing. This could be its own kind of product in itself. Like, forget the YouTube video. This is the whole thing. So like, what was the idea to start doing live shows and start putting artists on? Because this is something that I've always really championed. So when I had the Vinyl Collective, I had the Spotlight series, right? In terms of like making sure people are aware of new artists. I think sometimes people are only focused on the biggest or who's charting or who's the next person who's about to chart. But you seem quite focused on like the grassroots of like the culture. So what was the inspiration to be like, okay, I actually not only do I want to put these people on, I want to like actually do a competition with these people?
Yeah, opportunities, bro. Because I always knew that like a lot of upcoming rappers, like they lack opportunities. So my idea with the live shows was like more time. It was to ease like the pressures that a lot of upcoming artists have. So let's say like things like upload fee, shooting a music video, and just getting that exposure out there. Where I've got it already, like let me just spread the love in it. Like I know how it feels like to come up and kind of not get a look in.
Right.
So it's like, whether it's even like the creative industry, like let's say what me and you do, journalists, like content creators and that, like with Block Report, when you came to the Bethnal Green one, the second show, that's when at that point, that's when I started to realize, all right, cool, I got to start building a community out of this, because it's like
what was the difference between the first and second show that made you realize that?
The first show was more like, okay, I just want to do a live show. Obviously, I had the live shows already with cold drinks. We've done about 3 live shows, so I was already like used to, like setting up live shows, looking for venues and stuff like that, how to like kind of organize, how to kind of control the crowd and stuff. But the first show was more of like, I want to do this to just do this. Do you know what I mean?
Just see how it goes, right?
Yeah, just to tick this off the box, just to say that I've done a live show. Second live show, that was crazy. I think it's not my favorite live show. It's therefore second, but even at the time I did it, I thought I don't know if I'm gonna top this because I had Tef and Boost before. Shake won it, like, and Shake, like Shake got signed off that show.
Yeah. And if people don't know it, because this is the thing, because I thought, okay, it's good. Like, I never heard of any of these people, and then this guy Shakes comes on. I was like, holy shit, who the fuck is this guy, right? And I think it's no surprise he got signed. I was like, actually, no, there might be something to this, like, to me, in terms of what's in it. Did like, in terms of that, in terms of finding these artists, right? Sorry to cut you off. In terms of finding these artists, was it a thing where people just kind of sent you things, or you kind of had an eye of, okay, I know this guy's cold, let me bring him on, like, or was it a mixture of the two?
Nah, it was more people sent me because I always wanted to like make it a fair scope in it, a fair playing field. So I sent out like a message, a video, like, yo, all upcoming artists, just make sure you send me your tunes within a week to be considered for the show. So that way I can kind of filter out the best of the best. Like, I think my second show I had about 100 submissions, and I had to trim that down all the way to 5 artists. It was tough, but I think where a lot of the artists that did submit who didn't even get through, I'm still keeping tabs on them. It's like starting for football. It's like, yo, we're not going to sign you, but if you sign to another club, we might pick you up in a couple of years.
Right, of course,
so, like, I always still maintain that relationship with the artists that even didn't win or didn't even get through to the live shows because, like I said, it's about opportunity, isn't it? And I think where a lot of artists struggle in the UK for exposure, I'm willing to pay for your music video to just get you out there. I'm willing to put you onto this live show. Everything is calm. Just display your talent. Do you know what I mean? And I think where Block Report, where I'm a presenter, but I'm also someone that's like so passionate about the genre of rap. So I always wanted to make sure I'm showing people how passionate I am. It's just not talk. It's therefore more than talk. It's opportunity. And I think where people contribute to the scene you're in, I think that's vital because I think no one could come back at you and say, okay, but what have you done for the scene? Like, what have you done to contribute? Like, I can always say, I've contributed. Like, I've contributed, and I've contributed whether it's interviewing your favorite rappers, getting something out of them that you didn't know, or putting on a new artist that you're like, oh, you know what, this person's cool. They're gonna do their thing in a few years. So yeah.
And I think that's, for me, that's always the biggest indicator of like people who are going to be around for a long time, because you do get people, especially when I think during COVID, there was definitely a big boom of people making content, especially within music. And I think a lot of people saw it as like, right, this is a chance for me to like interview my favorite rapper and just become a personality. And you can always tell the difference between someone who's like, okay, I just want to kind of get this big look in or get to 10,000 followers. Then maybe music's a thing on the side. Maybe I just do something else, compared to people who are like, not only are they a fan of the music, they're always trying to find out what's next. It's not just about the music they were listening to when they were 14, 15. So yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah. Like, I think authenticity is key, bro. Right. I think authenticity. I think that's why a lot of people like let's say for Twitter, for example, yeah, I get cooked for my takes a lot. Yeah, I get cooked a lot. But I think where people still like gravitate towards me is that because they've seen that, all right, cool, you're actually a serious guy, and like, you're authentic. Like, what you're saying, I might not agree, but like, there's other things that you said that I fully agree with, and I know it's actually an authentic comment, like it's an authentic opinion. You know what I mean? And where obviously in my actual content, I've elaborated on so many points that haven't gone viral, but if you've watched it, and it hasn't gone unmissed. It's like I've elaborated that to a point where it's like, you know what, I hear that. I didn't see it like that, but I hear it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people are scared of that. Even though we'll kind of touch on it later, I think a lot of people are kind of scared of like, oh, I can't say a bad thing. I have to say all the nice things, and that's going to get me my following, and then that's going to get me like kind of the interviews I want and stuff like that. It doesn't always work that way.
Man. It's
Exactly. So again, because you're a busy guy, so in between kind of having again this thing with Mixtape Madness, not only are you doing the live shows, you're also starting this another show with Mnelia and Kamzo, which was Off the Record. So there's a couple of things I want to touch on here. So if I'm Mixtape Madness, right, and Link Up TV is one of my biggest competitors, surely there's a bit of there's a bit of conflict of interest there, Sillah. Like, how did you kind of resolve that? What's the conversation like with Link?
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? Yeah. Like, not even to dismiss off the record or Link Up, because I still work with Link Up.
Yeah.
I forgot about that, Like, I forgot about that period from Mixtape, and I was booming on Mixtape to being on Link Up as well. But I remember, like, I don't know if I can say it, man. Fuck it, I can say it. But I remember, like, being with Mixtape, and I'm like to them, yo, Link Up, listen, they're on my neck, like, what you not saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a Mixtape Madness Link Up TV thing over Flash, isn't it? So you're gonna get the best content out of me. And when I started that show with Malaka and Kamzo, Cold, man, I loved it because it was a live format that the UK I think YouTube just introduced their live.
Oh, it was done live. I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah, it was all live. Literally, it was all done live. So everything I said, and also that's where the Tef interview kind of came into place too, because he tuned in, and then I think he was listening to the episode, and then he called in, and then he spoke to us in that, and then I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, like, what do you mean you said this? Like, don't you like?" And then we started chatting, and then it was like, But yeah, no, I love that Link Up. That was a good period, man. That was good.
Yeah, how come it ended? Yeah, what was the nature of that? Because I remember like kind of seeing it on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. I thought, okay, like there's definitely a great dynamic, especially between you and Cam. So it's like it's a shame that it's kind of hasn't come back since. Well, how come we're not getting any more content from you guys?
Bro, I wish I can answer that question as well, man. I wish I can answer that, bro. I think the Hub, that's what it was called. It was called the Hub, yeah. I think it was so cold and unique here, where it had so many different personalities, so many different shows. There was a politics show with Lynn May and Craig Mitch. There was the No Behavior Live podcast on there. There was us, and I think we were the longest running show as well.
Okay, right, yeah. Because you guys did like how many episodes out? I think it was 100 or so.
Yeah. Loads. So yeah, like I think I'm not sure, bro. I'm not sure why I stopped, but I would go back anytime to do that, bro. Like that's something that's new. I've never seen it done before.
Right. And so now you're back on your own platform. You're a bit more of a personality, right? And I guess what people need to understand is when you're a bit more personality, you kind of just get freelance or hired for gigs, right? So this is kind of where the complex. So now we've gone from 90s. Mixtape, Link Up, now Complex. And Complex, again, everyone knows is probably one of the bigger conglomerates, right? Obviously, you've seen the likes of Academics, Joe Budden, and stuff like that. So when you're out there, I think you were on a red carpet. I can't remember which one it was, right? And the reason why I'm going to mention this is because you interviewed Akon, who's also Gambian, right? And it must be kind of crazy, again, to kind of be someone who's Gambian. Not many Gambians in the UK. You're on the red carpet now talking to probably one of the biggest Gambian people in hip-hop history. What was that like?
Yeah. Correction, he's Senegalese, but we're more.
Oh, is he Senegalese? Okay, I got it wrong. My bad.
I don't want him to cook you, innit? I don't want him to cook you.
Yeah, no, because I saw you not talking in the same language. I was thinking, oh, he must be Gambian too, but that's just an oversight from me.
Yeah, no, it's literally we are the same people. Like that's why I spoke to him in that language, and obviously I'm Gambian, but we share the same culture. It's like when I saw him at the MOBO, it's like I had to get this opportunity, and like I said, I was there with a friend, but also someone that I met through the industry, but that's my brethren now. Shout out T Only, he's a rapper as well. He literally rolled up there with an iPhone, a gimbal, and a mic. Do you know what I mean? All of my peers there with big cameras, like big platforms and that. But like, I gotta big up myself. Like, I came out of there with like the best interviews. You know what I mean? And it's like it felt good because that was my first red carpet. Do you know what I mean? It was the moment carpet, my first red carpet, my first like big activation, like my first content piece, and done so well that I was so grateful that, bro. I'll be honest, man. I'm someone that likes to reflect in it, and I'm still grateful for that. There's so many things man's done, that like I still look back and I'm like, raw, like, did I actually do that? Like, pretty, like, I never would have thought that, like, ever, like, bro. It still blows me away, man. Like, these are things that I grew up on. Like, I grew up on 106 Park, BT and that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, bro. So yeah, man, literally.
Yeah. So how did that gig come to be? Who gave you the call to say, hey, so that we need you on the red carpet? How did that happen?
Complex. So JP,
right?
Big up JP. Yeah. He's a staple in the scene. He's been fucking with me for a minute. He was talking with me through Twitter. He saw obviously my clips and stuff. He's like, bro, you're the future, you're next up and that. And obviously, the MOBOs was around November 2022, but I had a featured complex article in September.
We'll see. Yeah, I was gonna ask that. So yeah.
Yeah, so like literally through that, I think that's when we started to like kind of mesh together, like complex and Sillah. And then obviously he was like, you want to do MOBOs red carpet? It was like, let's say a week before. I was like, bro, I'm down. You know what I mean? Super nervous. I remember being there. I got there late, bro.
Your first gig, man. Come on, let's go on.
I got there late, bro. I got there late. Seeing everyone setting up. I seen people even starting up their interviews and that. We just walked onto the red carpet and said, okay, cool, this is our spot. When the artists come through, let's just shout. Yeah, man, literally.
Cool. And again, you mentioned kind of the article that you had with Sillah and Tina, who's also a creator in this space. Obviously, she worked under the Rhyme Sheet pod, if anyone knows that, a few years back. And I remember you said that this was one of like your I really made it kind of moments, because you had like a full spread article. I guess compared to, I guess it matters when I look at your career. I thought, okay, no, like nice, baby, that was a good gig, and having Mixtape Madness and kind of having Link Up TV those are kind of like made it moments. But what was it in particular by having this article that made you feel like, okay, like I'm here, like I'm undeniable? Like, I say, if I like it was quite heartfelt for you.
Yeah, it was a heartfelt moment, man. I think with that complex article, I think it's deeper than just article itself. It's more something like, it's more corporate, innit? It's like when people search up Block Report or Flashy Still on Google, that's like the first thing they see. So yeah, like when I eventually want to like transition to, let's say, maybe in America, anywhere in the world, like they can see that, like, oh, okay, cool, like this is stamped and approved, like this platform, this person, this individual in it, like stamped and approved, like by Complex, and where it's a detailed article which like documents my journey from the beginning to the date of that article. I think it was a good look. Like I still make sure that article is on the forefront because it reminds me, but also it reminds other people that, yo, like I've really started this from ground up. Like this started from the gutter, like by myself, one man team, all the way up until this. Do you know what I mean? I just want to show you lot the journey in it, and like super like grateful for Complex for doing that for me. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. And cool. So what I want to kind of move on to now is kind of content creators in itself, because like you said, you're someone who's been doing this for such a long time at this point. And I feel like there's definitely been a discussion about content creators. Some people just feel like, oh, you know, I'm getting that, right? And it's going to be a journey. We're going to ease into it. But I feel like I want to talk in particular about UK music, like journalists or content creators, right? How do you feel about the current scene? So, like, for example, again, people like Mimi, right? Like, she gets clowned all the time for like having astrology related to like her stuff, but then that's her niche, right? And then not anyone else is doing that. Or you get people who are kind of like super nerdy and like maybe they kind of too like, no, wait, you didn't know that this album dropped in like 2003 in May. Like, how do you know what I mean? So like, and sometimes they feel like there's definitely a bit of a disconnect between the people who cover the UK music and the fans of like casual fans who maybe just want to read an article. Like, what do you think of the current state of like of the scene?
All right, cool. You're good, you know. you're good, man. Nah, so all right, cool. My thing is, I remember like that discourse happening. My thing with that is that everyone's got their own ears, bro. Everyone has their own fucking ears, bro. And to me, it's like I can only give you my opinion. Do you know what I mean? It is my fault, but it's not my fault. People value my opinion, bro. So when it's like I'm putting an opinion out there, you don't have to agree. Do you know what I mean? And my thing is that I try to like kind of deviate away from me just being someone that just splurts out opinions all the time. Like I only give it when it's necessary. I only got like a talent when it's necessary. I don't even take payola, bro. I don't. People, you couldn't pay me to promo someone's music on Twitter or on Instagram. The way I monetize off it is submissions, live shows. Like you have to pay me to listen, really actually take you in. Do you know what I mean? So I think I think there's a slight disconnect in like the community, like music content creators, where it's like you got the ones that are on camera and get spotlighted, and people, the casual fans, kind of flock towards them, and then you got the journalists who are proper like insightful and break things down and whatnot. But to me, that's always been the nature, bro. Journalism
of course,
is an on-camera thing. You know what I mean? So where like everything online is video format, some people read, but not everyone reads, bro. Like, even respectfully, some people can't even read. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got what you mean.
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not even saying, because there's so many people I value, like journalists and that. I think, bro, you've got so much knowledge in this thing that, like, I respect you so highly. Like the likes of Ham, do you know what I mean? Like Hams is one of the coldest, bro. Like I always discuss it, and it's like, I think casual fans, I think they still got their own ears. I think that's really a narrative that people on Twitter are running with, really, like content kind of shifting the ears.
Just to give context to kind of discussion, there was definitely a bit of a discussion towards the back end of last year where people, and again, I'm not saying I agree with this, but there's definitely a discussion of, UK content creators are having too much influence on the opinions of the casual fans. Like, kind of as if, like, what people say about Anthony Fantano, right? Let's say Anthony Fantano bigs up, like, I don't know, Brockhampton, Little Sims. And now everyone's like a Brockhampton, Little Sims fan. Everyone thinks it's just because he said it, not necessarily because it's the person directed them to someone or something they didn't know, and then now they appreciate it. It's almost as if people are annoyed that people are having more nuanced opinions about music, and they're not just saying, I like this or I dislike this. They kind of have more reasons to back it up. So yeah, so go on, continue.
You know, my thing is that, okay, cool. We spoke on like authenticity, yeah. My thing, authenticity, like key in it. Like I always,
of course,
I always want to keep it real in every aspect of life, in it, yeah. But and one thing I do agree with that I saw like flying around when it came to this discussion is that people will be influenced by your opinion if you're in a certain position. Do you know what I mean?
Of course,
so you just got to make sure that you're always keeping it real, like keep it real to yourself and keep it real for your audience. And I think we have, like, content creators have a responsibility of doing that, because regardless, you're being platformed, whether you're a journalist or whether you're a music content creator or music influencer or how you want to call it. You've got a responsibility there for the casual fans. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people will run with what you're saying.
Right,
so
of course,
make sure to, like, when I'm on camera or whatnot, I'm elaborating exactly the point I want to get across, rather than just doing it for brownie points or I want to get into certain rooms or whatnot. Like, my thing, I'll be real, my thing is that I never came into this thing wanting to be friends with the rappers. Do you know what I mean? Like, naturally. I mean, like, it's a thing where my opinion is what got me a friendship with Young Teflon. Do you know what I mean? It's like, my opinion is why a lot of rappers, they're like, oh, you're a harsh critic, but you know, I fuck with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's so transparent, bro. It's so transparent to see when people are doing it and speaking to impress their industry friends or to get into certain rooms and that. But my thing is that as long as you're contributing to your scene, like, I mean, really contributing, like, as in making an impact on another artist's career, for example, you're doing active things to just make sure that the scene is just being kept alive. Because I feel like content creators, journalists, critics, and that, we're part of the ecosystem, bro. Like, we're part of it. You need us. Like, the rappers need us, keep their name alive. So
100%. Yeah,
our responsibility to make sure we're honest. I think honesty in the music is key. And that's why I feel like UK music in general is not that great, because people aren't as honest. Do you know what I mean?
And I think there's definitely a big proximity problem, right? Because if I'm in America, right, and I say, oh, Schoolboy Q is shit, but I live in, like, Baltimore, like, I'm not really fearing of any sort of repercussion. Like, I'm like thousands of miles away. But if I now say, oh, I think that Dave guy is not as good as you lot say, but he lives 15 minutes away from me, I'm a bit more nervous about that opinion, right? Do you know what I mean? And I think there's definitely a bit of a fear. And this is something that, when I was going into the Rhino Collective, I was just like, no, like, this is one of my ethoses, right? I don't give a heck. Like, I think it was kind of, looking back, it's kind of bad. I remember, like, the first maybe 7 episodes, I was just like, D-Block Europe is fucking shit. And it's almost like, aren't you worried, like, that Young Adam's gonna hear that? Or aren't you worried, like, if you want to get an interview, people are gonna hear that? And I was basically saying, I didn't come here to even interview artists. If I never interviewed a single artist, I'll still make content, because it's not necessarily about the person. It's more about their products, right? And I think sometimes
there will always be a certain bias. There will always be a certain bias when you fuck with.
Of course, yes, of course.
Always be a certain bias you have towards them, innit? But it's your duty in your head to always make sure you make it click that honest, rather than just praise them and tell people what the artist wants to hear.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think keeping it real, like I always say, I think honesty is just key. I think proximity is a thing, and it's obviously as a male, innit? Like you got to be careful. But I think where it's a thing where artists themselves, they appreciate the honesty too, because behind the scenes, like in DMs and stuff, artists are telling me, I agree with that. Do you know what I mean? I think there was one take that I had last year. I think it was like around August, September, bro. I said something about Stormzy, innit? I said Stormzy don't make music for us, bro. I was like, I don't think he makes music for us.
I remember that, yeah.
Cooked, bro.
Yeah.
I got cooked, but I stand on that comment because I feel like I believe that. And I think in real life as well, when people ask me about that comment, even like my boys, my brethren, or even just casual people on Twitter, they're like, no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
You know what? Let's touch on that, because I remember that became such a huge thing. And I think the reason, just looking from the outside in, I think the reason why people took to that is because I think people thought you meant, oh, they don't make music for all the guys who live on the estate. He makes music for like the people who aren't roadmen. Like, yeah, just like now you have a space to kind of clarify. What did you mean by for us? I think that's where people will get kind of confused.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? You know what it is, yeah? I think it could have been worded better, but I think where I wanted people to like redirect back to the episode to get context. Because I said in that episode, it was one of the topics, Stormzy actually giving back to 30 black students.
Yeah, the Oxford thing, yeah.
Bigging him up. But then I transitioned into like saying, but I think on the music side of things, I don't think he makes music for us anymore, because I see Stormzy with Ed Sheeran, with like, he's very clean and glossy, but then it's like, I wasn't necessarily a big Stormzy fan anyway, but I did fuck with Stormzy, and I did fuck with him because I think he had that connect to us. Do you know what I mean? And when I say us, people always wanted me to elaborate on us. I don't mean road use. I don't mean man that grew up on the stage. I mean just like UK rap fans. We love Stormzy, or love. Some people say love Stormzy, but I think it's a thing where the disconnects. I thought the disconnect was too far now. You know? Felt like it was too far. Obviously, he has come back recently with like more hard-hitting songs. He's come back to the essence a bit more. But at the time, bro, I did that. He was singing. Like, singing, bro. Like, and to me, Stormzy is not like Kanye, where he's like a polo shirt kind of guy, bro. He's from Croydon. He was part of the Section Boys band. Like, he's really like from the gutter. And I feel like where he kind of, I felt in that take, I feel like he kind of abandoned us. Like, I think it was a thing. As a fan, I felt like, Stormzy, like, come back to the essence, man. You know what I mean? For us. So yeah, like that was literally my point, bro.
Yeah, cool. And this kind of transitions on to another thing that I wanted to discuss with you. I've been dying to discuss this with you, actually, because one of the things that, again, kind of talking about the proximity and handling the backlash, and then maybe you made a tweet. This was towards the back end of last year, where you were like, UK rappers thought I was bad this year. 2024, I'm stepping into my Joe Budden bags. Everything you release, I'm speaking. Again, so one thing that, and again, I've spoken to another guy, you just shout out Hamza. Me and Hamza have spoken about this so many times, where there's always been a disconnect in terms of someone who's that person who's like a harsh critic. And I think even myself, I've tried to be that at times. Why do you think there's been such a lack of that UK Charlemagne or UK Joe Budden? And how are you going to kind of implement that in like moving forward?
Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I think it's time for us to leave the whole UK this, UK that. I think it just happens. Like Charlemagne's from flipping North Carolina, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he went to New York and he's speaking on every artist from every state. You get away with that. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, Charlemagne's been snuffed in his face, bro.
He has.
Like, it's a thing where
same with academics as well. People forget.
Yeah, bro. It's caught up to them. Like all the trash talk has caught up to them. It won't work in the UK because UK, one, like you said, the proximity is too small, bro. It's not hard to find you. But two, and as well as that, UK rappers are sensitive, bro. Like I would say that they are fucking sensitive, innit? But I think it's a thing where I think it, again, I've said it so many times, but it's honesty, innit? And I think artists value honesty. I think where you're making a point, be honest with it, but just elaborate and be clear on that. Like, let's say, for example, Like something that will put me into that UK Charlemagne bracket or whatnot, or the Joe Budden thing is like, let's say for example, when I told Boost to his face, bro, you were third or fourth of us.
I was saying that was pretty bold of you.
Bro, tiny Boost, bro. He just did almost 10 years, bro. You know
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think it's a thing where like it's like they appreciate that because it's something new in the UK, but it's still respectful. And it's an opinion, it's an honest opinion from someone that really loves the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really, really love it. Like, I really love it. And I've analyzed it. There's countless times where I've shown people like, yo, this is an example of me showing you how much I know about hip hop. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So it's like, as long as like you keep authentic, you can always get your opinion off. Because people always double guess it in their head, especially the artists. They always double guess it. Like, oh, do you know what? He said some good points in the past, like, I don't agree with this, but it's like the audience too. They like the audience too. I don't agree with this, but you know what? I respect it. Cool. It is what it is. I think there's just a barrier of disrespect. You can cross the line, innit?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think there's certain lines that you just don't cross because some people put their all into it.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
And speaking of which, because I remember something you just mentioned like a few minutes ago, he said about UK albums not being up to snuff. Like, what do you think is lacking from UK albums? Because again, there was a discourse again recently in terms of UK albums lacking like a thematic nature. Like, there's no sort of artist gonna make a Good Kid, Mad City or stuff like that. Yeah, what do you think the UK artists need to do to kind of take it to that next level?
I think it's the people around their team. So let's say I think a lot of artists' teams in the UK, let's say UK rap, let them down a bit. Let's say, for example, a good example would be Unknown T's album. Like, bro, that chart is 61. But if you actually listen to that album, bro, it's a good album. Do you know what I mean? It's one of his best work, introspective and all of that. But then you've got the likes of Digger, who charted, like, I think he charted number 2, done Royal Album. It's an album that was in a similar nature that was like, was vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? So why is it Unknown T's charting 61, Digger's charting that? Digger is the bigger artist, but it's still like
not that much bigger.
Not like they live in the same space. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's the artists' teams, but as well as that, I think there's not enough inspiration in the UK. I'll be real. But the thing is, in the UK, we come from artists that have legacies. Like, I'm talking to general artists. Like, you've got David Bowie, you've got Adele. You know what I mean? You've got like the Beatles are from the UK as well, isn't it?
What's that?
Like, you've got
the Beatles are from the UK. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like, I think where there's a rich history of like music, it's just eventually it's time eventually where it's gonna leak into rap music, UK rap, and you've seen it with us. You've seen it with Potter Paper, bro. Yes, I know a couple of A&Rs are working on Potter's album, and they're serious guys. Like, they know about it just as much as me and you. You know? That's why it sounded so thematic. Like, it sounded the concept was so key. But I think we're just not there yet, bro. I think the genre is still early in the stages, so a lot of projects, they're not fine-tuned yet. Do you know what I mean? For me, a lot of UK rap projects aren't fine-tuned. So I think that's the thing. But we're getting there, though. I do think we're getting there. I think things are starting to sound cleaner. They're starting to sound a bit more like sequenced than that. Things are starting to get better.
I mean, which artists do you think are kind of like pushing it forward or being more progressive right now?
Oh, I would say I'm messing with Crystal a lot. I think Crystal's got a high ceiling. I think she's someone that can do a lot. Do you know what I mean? I think the alternative rap scene, not more so the Nux and the Saint, more like the Lens, Fingy Guerrero.
Right, yeah.
Quite new. I think they've taken a bit of influence from Grime, innit, where Grime's getting a bit of more of a resurgence because of them. So I think these are progressive artists, innit. I think Drill's gonna go back underground. But I do think UK rap, as much as people say that UK rap's declining, I can't lie to you. I think the quality's still there. You just got to look for it. You've got any integrity. Do you know what I mean? You've got so much talent out there, bro. There's so much out there. And the ones that are still doing their thing in our generation, like Dave and Sench, bro, they're doing their thing. They're the ones pushing the culture forward. So yeah.
Agreed. So my last kind of like part of the trilogy of Sillah kind of getting cooked on Twitter, the most recent one, which again me and Hamza spoke about, was Complex recently did a top 50 UK rappers of all time. And I'll be honest, I saw this list and I was like, this is an interesting list for multiple reasons, right? And one thing I heard, and you can confirm the truth or not, is that the people who were involved in the 11 to 50 weren't even involved in the 10 to 1. So yeah, so what was kind of going on with that list? And obviously there was a huge talk. This is probably one of the most biggest kind of engagements I've seen in terms of UK music in terms of this list. People were being super nostalgia merchants. Sorry, some people were like, oh, what this person? How did you feel about the backlash? And can you explain more about why was there such a disconnect in terms of this team's going to handle this part of the list and this team's going to handle this part of the list?
There was so much disconnect when it came to the list, but obviously being in it from when they told us yo, we're going to do this list to actually it coming out, there was a lot of discussion and a lot of shifting and whatnot. I was only involved from the 10 to 1. And one thing I did want to let people know is that it's a group effort. There's only so much I could say.
Of course.
I'm speaking on my generation. I think one thing with the list I can be critical of it. I feel it was too grime heavy, innit?
Right.
I think the top 10 was too grime heavy. I think bare people could have been reshuffled. I think there was inclusion points and some people were there to just be included. Do you know what I mean? Because of kind
of demographics. I know what you mean.
Yeah, bro. Demographics and do you know what I mean? Certain things. You know the nature of 2024, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I can only put in so much, and then everyone else can put in their input. But where me and Mimi were the only ones from the new generation, I was fighting for the likes of Nines to be in there. I was fighting for the likes of Wretch 32 to be bro, no Wretch in the top 10. Yeah. Wretch is in top 5 regardless, bro. You know what I mean? Wretch has been here since 05, 06, bro. He's done grime, rap, do you know what I mean? Now he's done the yard thing, he's a mogul now. But with the list, I think everyone's got a right to be pissed about that, bro. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got a right to be pissed. Everyone's got a right to be calm with it. Some man was I fuck with this list and whatnot.
Yeah.
I was always expecting a backlash, bro. You know what I mean? I'm normal.
You're adjusted to it now, yeah.
Yeah. I'm used to backlash. Yeah, one thing about me is that I can only do my job in it. I can only put my point across in the video. I can only say, cool, this is my point. This is why I think this person should be in there and whatnot. You lot handle the rest. Do you know what I mean? And where it's Complex's platform, and I'm an associate in it.
Of course, yeah.
I'm gonna be attached to that. Calm. I don't mind. Ask me for my opinion now. Do you know what I mean? Ask me for my top 10, and I don't mind giving you my top 10. My top 10 is completely different to that.
Do you have it to hand? We could talk about it.
Yeah, man. I could give it to you quickly.
Yeah.
Cool. Wait, let me check my notes, man.
No worries.
I think. Okay, cool. Okay. Wait, hold on. I tweeted it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. My list is okay. Cool. So my list is it's Skepta 1, Gigs 2, Skepta 1, Gigs 2. Those are the top. They're the 2 that can't be replaced. And then everything else is in an order that anyone else can put in. So I put Nines, Wretch 32, Tef, Dave, Chip, Pot of Paper, J Huss, and Stormzy. Now, people that say, you and Stormzy, Stormzy. But what Stormzy has done is so heavy compared to everyone else, it can't be dismissed. Do you know what I mean? Bro, Glastonbury, countless, he's got number ones. Bro, Stormzy's trajectory has just been up, bro. He saved grime as well. So I put Stormzy in there for a reason that not necessarily I think his skill set deserves to be in there. But
of course, yeah.
So yeah, literally Chip, Pot of Paper, Huss, Dave, Tef. It's more rap based more than grime, innit? I think the old grime rap on there might be just Chip. Yeah, it'll be cool. Really? Yeah, it'll be Chip and Skepta. Chip and
Skepta. Of course. Yeah. Fair. And I guess did Compass kind of give a reason as to why they wanted to kind of split the people who worked on the 2 sides of the list? Did you ever get clarification on that?
No, but I kind of figured it out. I think the 50 to 11 was more for journalists, for journalists' sakes, because obviously it's going to be on the website.
Okay,
And then the top 10 was going to be is video format. Do you know what I mean? So obviously they wanted to get people that are more prominent on video, that can elaborate their points on video, because a lot of the journalists that were under 50 to 11, they're not video format journalists anyway.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah, literally that.
That makes sense. Okay. So I got a couple more questions for you, so before I let you go. So first one, kind of speaking now, so you've been doing this for almost 6 years now. Is Sillah the best music content creator in the UK?
Come on, bro. Of course I am, man. Of course I am, man. I ain't gonna say much, bro. Of course, man. I can give you entertaining interviews, I can give you insightful, bro. I can chat to you about rap music for years, bro. I can give you context, I can give you knowledge, bro. It's man, bro. It's me, man. So I gotta say it now, man. It's 2024, man.
Yeah, of course. Respect. All right, and the last one I have for you. So again, if you followed Sillah, he has his rap infinity stones, right? Which is flow, cadence, charisma, lyricism, and clarity, right? So I'm gonna give you a scenario here. So let's say Thanos or aliens come to Earth, right? They're gonna wipe out half of us. They might even wipe out all of us. They're like, right, okay, the only way you guys survive is if you give us the ultimate rapper, or ultimate rap song, whatever, right? You have to give us the ultimate rapper. But you have to create the ultimate rap group, rather. So you have these 5 kind of infinity stones. We need the best artist that fits each infinity stone. Who does Sillah choose and why?
Oh, can we? Is it just
let's do just UK, because I know you're focused on UK. Let's just do UK.
Okay, cool. Clarity, I'll give you Skepta Sench.
Okay.
Skepta Sench, best clarity. You can hear every lyric they're saying. They don't overcomplicate it. Everything is heard. Do you know what I mean? Cadence. I'll give you Potter.
Yeah.
Paper. I'll give you Potter paper for cadence. Yeah, 100%. Flow. You know, a lot of people got good flows, man. I think that's one thing that we got a stronghold in the UK. There's flows here, but flows, it's crazy. But I'll say Young Ads, man.
Okay.
I'll say Young Ads because he gives you flavors, bro. Like he can give you melodic flows, he can give you rap flows, and he's been here for years. I think he goes under the radar a little bit. I'll be honest. I really do think Young Ads don't get fully appreciated as much as you could, innit?
Okay.
So I did cadence, clarity, flow, charisma. Okay, cool. Charisma. Charisma. Okay, who can I give you, man? Charisma. I would say. Oh, that's a tough one, bro. That's a tough one. Charisma, man. Let me check my Spotify quickly. Charisma. Oh, I'll give you Huss.
Okay.
I'll give you J Huss for charisma. Yeah, I'll give you J Huss. He's charismatic. Do you know what I mean? Like, he got character in his music. You can hear the character in that. Charisma, clarity, cadence, flow,
lyricism.
Lyricism. All right, lyricism. I would say either. Because I got to make sure concepts are in there as well. Lyricism. I'll give you 2. Young Teflon.
Okay.
Because he's a good storyteller. Or Little Sims.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, I'll give you. I'll give you Tef or Little Sims, and I think Tef and Little Sims, when it comes to lyricism, they're 2 different worlds.
Right, of course, yeah.
Will give you the street rap lyricism. Little Sims will give you more concept-based lyricism, where it's like she's speaking from like bare different perspectives. Do you know what I mean? She can rap about anything. But yeah, that's what I'll give you still.
Yeah, cool.
What you saying? What you saying, man?
Me? Oh man, you have to interview me and find out. So you have to wait on the next one. But at the end of the interview, is there any final words you have? Is there anyone you want to shout or say hello
to? Yeah, man, big up the Vinyl Collective. Do you know what I mean? Like, like you guys are my niggas, bro. Like, big up the Vinyl Collective. Big up all like the journalists, like that man really like highly respect, like the likes of Hamza. I big up Naz. Naz been doing great things recently, man. I would say also the Grillheads. It's a kind of group that a lot of us are part of. Me,
Mhm.
Camzo, Teddy, Lockdown T,
CJ.
Chaos, CJ, Rambo. Do you know what I mean? These are
Mhm.
people that are part of that class of Chord 2020. And
Mhm.
I'll say, lastly, man, like I'll say Complex UK as well, man, because Complex UK given me the opportunity to push through like the kind of mainstream now. Do you know what I mean? Like before, I was very underground, but now I
Mhm.
can say like, cool, I've hit the mainstream. I've broken through the mainstream. I want to say I'm there, I'm fully there, because I feel like
Mhm.
when you're fully there, you're looking at Chucky, you're looking at do you know what I mean? Like those kind
Mhm.
of personalities. So yeah, man, that's literally it, bro.
Cool. Abaraka.
Yes.